This black pill thing is very interesting in general. Most of these black pillars are nihilists by nature, very pessimistic and negative outlook of the world. They're essentially, my jaw isn't square, so I'm fucked. Like, my place in the world and society is determined by how big my shoulders are, how tall I am, how square my jaw is, how this, that, and the other. And then by this negative thinking, they start to behave in this manner because that's the self-image they formed. And then they project out the insecurity, which people notice. And then I've noticed that all these guys have a lot of squirrely, weird, like creeper energy. Not that they themselves are ugly, because when you look at most of the guys, they're not actually ugly. They're just normal dudes. Some of them are actually attractive men that women would rate highly on. I'll never forget talking to this one guy that was literally shredded with abs. Dude, he looked like he could be a fucking runway model. And he was a hardcore believer in incel ideology, black pill, hardcore. And showed me text messages he would send girls. He would match girls on apps and send the weirdest, like, think of the most incel-y, thirsty for pussy, like, I hate women kind of text messages that would blow his chances from the get-go. Because his mentality, like, the way he viewed himself was like some abomination, like a fucking weird creature that disgusts everybody. So that's why I looked into the nihilism stuff, because that's becoming more and more popular today. The way society's going, I predict black pill to overtake the red pill. I think the red pill mentality of get fit, work on yourself, get higher status in society, practice talking to women, all this stuff, like, it still puts power in your hands, like, get attractive, get fit, get rich, whatever. Right? And your outcome changes. You can boil it down to that very simplified stuff, but it teaches you about nature, teaches you about how women really are, how men really are, what society looks for, kind of pulls the wool from your eyes about, be a good little boy, get her flowers like this, wait on her hand and foot, happy wife, happy life, kind of all this bullshit. It helps you navigate the world in many facets, not just dating, but at work, in politics, and whatever it is that you're going after. Unfortunately, the black pill is like a metastasized version of that, where a portion of the red pillars have found that the effort is uneven. Some men can get into red pill ideology, apply very little effort, see very high levels of success. And then you have a section of this ideology that gets into the same kind of, I want to get fit, I want to get more money, I want to get more women. That's a big one. And find out that they have to put 10 times the effort that some other men have to for the same results, if not worse. And then that causes the dread, the nihilistic nature to come out, the absolute pessimism of society. And they view everything in the worst light, man. It becomes reduced down into self-hate, hating women. A lot of them do hate the fact that, a common thought with them is, because I don't look like X, I am absolutely never going to get a woman. So you imagine the thought process that puts you in when you think nobody wants you because your jaw isn't square enough. You start to hate the women. It'll get much bigger. I foresee it surpassing. The gap between men and women are going to keep growing. Dating's going to get worse and worse, harder and harder. And there's going to be a larger and larger portion of men that fall into that kind of thinking. Partially not their fault. The effect of social media is just as powerful on them as it is on women. Especially in an emotional state like that, where you feel like you're not loved, you're not wanted, you're isolated. You can see it in comment sections when I've covered videos on like AI girlfriends. And there are men that literally cannot wait, anything is better than a real woman. Like, you're all going to go out of business when this happens, or there won't be any need for women anymore. Like, these are guys that have never even been with a woman, never kissed a woman, had been rejected horribly by women. Or just simply the mentality of their own minds of how they see themselves as unworthy, as disgusting, as like absolute beasts. If you've been on incel or black pill forums, the memes that they make are crazy. Like, holy shit. If you think the red pill memes are funny with little gold hair Chad and all this shit, and he's like muscular, and then you got the decrepit looking dude in the meme, and he's the beta Bob looking type. Go into the fucking incel and black pill forums and see the memes there. They're 100 times more extreme, hardcore, and absolutely it leads into a feedback loop of you get worse. Like when you get into those communities, there's no bettering yourself. It's just being vindicated essentially in your own beliefs. You go there to have your beliefs affirmed by everybody else who feels the same thing of I have no chance with women. Everybody tells you how they have no chance with women. Everybody tells you the same stories of how they were blown up. Yeah. It's a nasty loop that makes you absolutely give up. Hence the nihilistic nature. Like fuck society, let it all burn. That's a common thing that they say. I'm just watching the decline, wait until the barbarians come to the gates. Yeah, it's insane what they say. It sucks, dude, because more and more of these men are going to get dragged into this. And it'll become, eventually, that'll be the new mainstream. I don't know how many years down the road, but we're headed there. Situation won't be improving anytime soon, guys. So, look, the best we can do is, again, observe what's happening around us and make a note not to become that and see how they've become that and just avoid it all altogether. All we could do is just improve our own lives, dude. It's mentally draining to want to save other people. It's completely exhausting to keep up with. For example, politics. They're so divisive, so tribal. All they do is emotionally goad people into getting angry and fighting one another because the division is power for those at the top. And, we've kind of, social media now does the same thing. The algorithms are really smart. If they could elicit an emotional reaction out of you, that means you stay on the platform longer. So they feed you content that gets you reacting emotionally. If you can be cognizant that this is all happening all at once, all around you, everything, you can essentially develop that, say, stoic mentality, the mindset, and detach, finally, fully start detaching from the absurdity of what modernity has become and really focus on the things that matter, dude. Fuck the alcohol, the cigarettes, all the other drugs, the casual sex, the stupid shows on TV, the horrendous music and its lyrics today. All of this is a distraction once you really realize that and find out, here's what's really important to me as a person. Here's what really brings me joy and deep-seated happiness. And it'll be things like working on my body, going on walks, hikes, meeting people who have similar passions about the hobbies I have, things like that. You'll start day to day moving in the direction of like, this is my authentic self. This is what I like to do. I'm not just doing what, is pushed on me by society or what my peers expect me to do. Like they're all asleep at the wheel. It's the same problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Hey,
yeah.
Bo, can I comment on something you said earlier really quick?
Yes, please, man. Jump in whenever.
You had mentioned one of the beliefs you touched on was, I think it was, you said absurdism was the last one.
Yeah.
What was interesting about that was I feel like I used to believe that, and it wasn't until I read, I think it's one of the books that you read before, As a Man Thinketh.
Yes.
Where he said it's really a man's job to make sense of the chaos and organize and structure around his life. And I think that's what the issue was, because I would almost make fun of people that would plan and would do things, but really all I see it now, all it was it was an excuse to be lazy. That's essentially all it was.
Yes.
So I do agree with that to a degree, but I think the danger is people who believe in that are pretty much people that just don't want to organize their lives, essentially.
Yeah.